Today's reading is Psalm 46, a song of the descendants of Korah. God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. So we will not fear when earthquakes come and the mountains crumble into the sea. Let the oceans roar and foam. Let the mountains tremble as the waters surge. A river brings joy to the city of our God, the sacred home of the Most High. God dwells in that city. It cannot be destroyed. From the very break of day, God will protect it. The nations are in chaos and their kingdoms crumble. God's voice thunders and the earth melts. The Lord of heaven's armies is here among us. The God of Israel is our fortress. Come, see the glorious works of the Lord. See how he brings destruction upon the world. He causes wars to end throughout the earth. He breaks the bow and snaps the spear. He burns the shields with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be honoured by every nation. I will be honoured throughout the world. The Lord of heaven's armies is here among us. The God of Israel is our fortress.
Psalm 46 is a beautiful psalm. It's set in Jerusalem, the city of our God, and it's a song that has given immense comfort and courage to people over the years. Martin Luther wrote his famous hymn, paraphrasing it, "A mighty fortress is our God." And it said that whenever Luther was in trouble, he would say to people, "Come on, let's sing Psalm 46. The psalm describes all kinds of external chaos. There's the sea crashing against the cliffs and the mountains falling into the sea, it says. And then it goes on to describe the nations in uproar, and there's war and fire. And then in the middle of it, there's this beautiful, serene river that runs through the city of God. A nice flowing river with peace and safety. And you can see why Luther liked it. When your life is in chaos, when external circumstances are dangerous, when the world is careering out of control, sort of like a wagon pulled by a bolting horse. Be calm, be still, and know that I am God. In fact, verse 10 is one of the most calming mantras ever written. Be still and know that I am God. But how do we find that? How do we know calm in chaos? How do we find quietness in uproar? Now, something that may strike you. Have you ever been to, it may not strike you, have you ever been to Jerusalem? It is not anywhere near the sea, and it doesn't have any rivers. There's no gentle river, there's no river at all in Jerusalem. In fact, water has been a huge problem for Jerusalem. It's built up on a rocky hill, and through the centuries, the only place they could get water was this spring just outside, the Gihon Spring. And they built various tunnels that brought the water into the city and filled the pools, like the pool of Siloam, and people would get their water from that. But because the water was intermittent, and they found these amazing tunnels built by Hezekiah and even people way back before David's time. And now Jerusalem is always short of water, and they pipe it from the Mediterranean Sea, a massive long pipeline and a desalination plant. And they have another pipeline comes down from the Sea of Galilee, which is a freshwater lake fed by the River Jordan. So this whole idea about a river isn't literal. We must read this text as a spiritual poem. It's a metaphor. It's a guide to finding peace, regardless of the circumstances. The river that runs through Jerusalem is the deep peace of trusting God. It's the confidence you find when a community gathers and prays. It's a river whose streams refresh the city and make it whole. And it can be true for you. Inside you, there is a river running deep. Inside your soul, there's a place where you can connect with God. You need to center, you need to find that place. And then you'll find peace. Here's a beautiful song that expresses this called Deeper River by D.B. Hanna.
There's a river running deep within the silence of our souls, where the healing quenching waters carve their heart, and its source a spring of living water, surging and sustained. It's the voice of Jesus waiting for the listening hearts. Oh, where the living waters flow in us, where the living waters flow again. They will carry us, they will wash us down, they will quench our thirst again. Sometimes the river of our life winds wandering away. Sometimes the rapids tumble endlessly. Comes the time to stop and find the deeper river running through. To think refreshing waters and hear the Spirit's song. When the living waters flow in us, when the living waters flow again, they will carry us, they will wash us down, they will quench our thirst again. If we call us thirsty people, there's no need to thirst again. To the weary come find me to the water's line. Full of goodness, full of mercy, our cup will overflow. When we call of that deep river, there's a voice we've come to know. Oh, when the living waters flow in us, when the living waters flow again, they carry us, they will wash us down, they will quench our thirst again. Oh, when the living waters flow in us, when the living waters flow again, carry us, they will wash us down, they will quench our thirst again.
Spirit of God, you know us and you communicate with us on a deep level. Help us to divine your flow in our innermost being. First, we ask you will bring us calm. We sit still and pray that you will show us that you are God and that this world and its powers are under your authority. We seek to grow in trust. And then we ask that you will give us the water of life, your love to quench our thirst, your presence to take away our restlessness and disturbance. We seek to grow in contentment. And we ask that your river will carve its way through our character. We need some healthy erosion where the rough bits and the spoilt parts of us are worn away by your Spirit flowing in us. And we know the power of water, and we long to be carried in your stream, directed by your flow, kept within healthy banks, moving in the right direction at your pace. Forgive our foolish attempts to swim against the tide or to rush ahead. We seek to go in the flow. And finally, you promised that the flow of the Spirit would come out of us. And we hope that something of your goodness and compassion will flow out of us to bless a thirsty world and water a dry landscape. Thank you, Lord, that you fulfill your promises, you hear our prayers, and you bless us with your grace. Amen.
How are you going to find that river? How are you going to find that deeper water? Water is a beautiful image, you know, of something clean and pure that washes you. You're going to need to get away. You're going to need to find a quiet place where you can listen to the voice of Jesus. I heard the voice of Jesus say, "Behold, I freely give the living water. Thirsty one, stoop down and drink and live." I came to Jesus and I drank of that life-giving stream. My thirst was quenched. My soul revived, and now I live in him. That's a beautiful hymn by Horatius Bonar. You need to get away and take the earphones out and get rid of the devices and just listen to nature and reconnect. There's a river deep in your soul. If you draw water from it, it will soothe your heat. It will quench your thirst. It'll wash you clean. It'll carry you, as the song says. At Alexandria, Lisa often gets us to close our eyes and imagine ourselves sitting by a river. And you can do that kind of thing in your own time. Come to the river. And there you will find the peace you're after. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of our God, the sacred home of God Most High. Sometimes the external chaos that frightens us is a reflection of chaos and war in our own souls. Before we can march for peace and protest or for reform, we need to find the peace in our own lives. Before we can breathe peace into the world, we must first disarm our own hearts. And this exercise is crucial for your well-being and for the health of your family and your community. God dwells in us. We need to tap into that river. We need to be honest before God, find our true self, and find our relationship with God. Be still and know that I am God, and I will be honoured among the nations. I'll be honoured throughout the world, it says in verse 10. Wouldn't it be an age of peace if every nation listened for the deep river in their midst, if they laid down their weapons and took time away from busyness and exploitation and disarmed the anxiety in the national soul? May God give us